Oh, this little chair. No, this is empty.
Yeah, that's my chair that Choice took over. So
This is a cute little chair.
why he could just take over my stuff.
Oh, I'm about to dive in.
I'm just gonna be honest. When Chris brought it up a couple of weeks ago, we had a whole conversation about everything that happened and how I felt about it and how he felt about it. You know, of course, I guess I came off a little crass with him because, you know, I felt like he didn't see my side of things because he's more about the relationship. And as far as you know, as you know, when I came in with open arms to whoever he said was family to me too. But it was still a thing where I didn't think it was fair how he considers Choice's side of the family and how he considers Trey and Amber's mom's side of the family. So it was one of those things where, you know, once you move on in marriage, you kind of cut ties with the other family. It's only fair to the spouse. So I don't have a relationship with my brother-in-law anymore, my ex-brother-in-law, and we were real close. He lived with me and everything, same type of scenario, all that. So I just think he didn't see that side of it. So that was a big argument. It's like, it's not something I have to do. It's not a relationship I have to manage, I guess. So many instances where we bumped heads on things where I felt it was disrespectful or I felt like lines was crossed as far as me being a wife and you being family in his kid's life. So I just felt like I should always come first in every scenario when it comes to Chris. I think the last thing that kind of was like I'm kind of done is when and it came from you. So that's when I was like, man, I had a conversation where I told her I don't care who you're friends with, just don't tell her nothing about what's going on in my household. And I felt that's what happened.
And I don't even want to be totally. I don't recall telling her. My memory doesn't serve me correctly, but if I did tell her, I don't recall telling her. I do recall her being in touch with Amber because she's still in touch with Amber.
I really don't care who she has a relationship with. She needs to stop calling Chris. I know that because she reached out to him again. And like 3 weeks ago.
Cause you're gonna get real mad.
You ready?
Yeah, she did.
For what?
I don't know. I just said, "Who is this?" I didn't know the number. And I didn't respond to her though.
If I did say something or if I confirmed it, I apologize because you're right. That's not okay for me to tell her y'all's business.
And it was a sensitive time, and it was a very hurtful time for us. And it's one of those things where I'm like, dude, it's been 5 years. Why is her name still coming up? Right. Why do I have to deal with that? You don't have to deal with anybody from my past at all. Right. And it's just like, it's it's kind of to the point where you're being psychotic, and it's frustrating. And it's kind of like I want to just cut all ties with that. And it's like, I didn't really have a problem with anybody. First thing I'm gonna protect my husband and I'm gonna protect his kids, and then then me. Of course, my kids come first. But it's just a situation where the whole Isaac and Rachel thing was like, okay, y'all don't accept me because whatever reason that came back after everything was squashed and we were all cool and happy again. But I was like, no, that's not what was portrayed. It was like, if you didn't really believe in the marriage because of Chris, you should have said that, because we're one. So they cut me off, they've cut you off automatically. Right. I didn't do that. Right. So she was staying at the house at 5, 6 in the morning, talking to you all night long, blah, 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 blah. And it was like, well, you can't really blame that on her. It's part of my fault. I was like, well, Chris, I feel like if I come out and say something, it doesn't matter what you say when I go back in the house and shut the door. It should already be like, yeah, but your wife said it's time to go. Yeah. And I should go. And I don't feel like, people were respecting that. So when we talk, me and Chris do our whole, disagreement and my point and his point and all of that, and of course in the back of my mind I'm saying, yeah, I'm going to have to talk to her. Yeah, I'm going to have to, fix this. Because in my mind, I'm like, well, I'm not mad at anybody. I'm not holding a grudge. I just didn't feel like it was a necessary thing in my life right now to maintain that relationship. I didn't. And even now, it's like I slowly merging people out of my life that aren't really positive in our marriage. And what's important to him, I try to make it important to me. So although I felt attacked,
he didn't. And that was my thought, my choice. It was actually a conversation that Mark and I were having, and it wasn't even, he didn't even say anything to me about it. He was simply letting me know. He was like, I really miss Chris. I do. And I was like, okay. Do either one of you pick up a phone and call each other? And he was like, I don't know. He was like, I miss being around them. I miss being around Chris. I miss that relationship that we all had. I said, I do too. I don't know what went wrong or where it went wrong. I said, I'd like to know. And he was like, well, I'm pretty sure you're the only one that can find that out. And I'm like, you're right, I can. And I was like, I just want to make sure that it was the right time for everybody to have that, to have the conversation and to reach out and talk to her. I just want to make sure everything's good everywhere. And I said, because at the time that all that happened, you and I were not in a good place. I just decided, I thought about it, I prayed about it. I was like, yeah. And I'm miss hanging out with you guys. I miss being a part of your guys' life, both of you, not him, not you, together. You know what I mean? And all of us doing stuff together and whatever. You know what I mean? So I think there's maybe like boundaries that I have to draw with certain people in Chris's life, I guess is the better way to say that.
Like that. It was, I just ended these relationships with people because of, feeling disrespected and abused and taken advantage of. So when we had the conversation, it was like, I'm already on edge. Oh, you want to talk about this? I'm tired of feeling like this. I'm tired of feeling like that. I'm tired of being a bad guy, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Because I'm so direct and, kind of, sharp when I talk to people. It's like, well, that's just how I am, because I've kind of been working for myself for a long time and dealing with people without a man present. So I had to have a strong personality to kind of deal in business. Yeah. And it has rolled over into friendships and rolled over into other parts of my life that, like my assistants, they always think I'm like, look, I'm about business. I come in this office. This is the office. That's my room upstairs. This is the office. When you see me in here, I'm right at work. So I am going to be like, I need this, right. Get it done. And I keep it moving. Some people are like, all right, well, good morning. I'm like, yeah, okay, good morning. But I need X, Y, Z done. I've been working 3 hours before you got here. So I'm already in the role of things. So, and I was like, I guess my personality is not an easy one to kind of deal with as far as my friends. And I hear my friends talk, well, that's just charity. I'm like, well, what does that mean?
I know, I'm guilty. I've said it before too, because people have said, well, God, she was just, I'm like, no, that's just the way that she is, and you're not taking her the right way. She doesn't mean it to be hateful. She's not saying it to be mean. That's just how she talks, and you can't take it personal, because
even when I say that,
it'll eat you alive.
Even when I say, don't take it personal,
I
just, if you ask me a question, give me straight.
I've always explained myself, and I'm like, no, that's just how she is. She doesn't mean it like.
I told Chris, I was like, yeah, I've never been so outspoken before, because I've been ran over so much. I just, okay, oh, you messed up my food at the restaurant. Okay, well, I'm just gonna eat it anyway. And that's how I've always been. And like when I hit 30, I guess after 30, it was like, you know what? I'm gonna speak my mind. It's like, because I surround myself by a lot of opinionated, strong-minded, single mothers types, and I always let them talk. I always let them say what they want to say, and I would never say anything. Because I didn't want the conflict, and so And I was like, well, why shouldn't they can say whatever they want? I feel some type of way about this. I feel this. I feel that. And I was like, well, you know what? I feel some kind of way too. And it's like I'm, dragging on friendships that weren't healthy in our relationship. It was like, oh yeah, okay, well, I just don't want this friendship anymore. And it was like, we should talk to the person. But I was like, I really don't want to. So that's where it all came up. I said, well, I didn't tell her. Well, maybe you should have told her. I was like, well, I didn't feel it's necessary. Personality that she's not going to see what I'm saying. She's not going to get it. It's not going to make a difference anyway. Yeah. And so it's like, I just rather end the friendship because we tried the talking thing before.
I said, and I'm constantly, not constantly, but in the beginning of this, I was like, how come you guys don't hang out with Chris and Charity anymore? I'm like, I don't have the answer. I really don't. I was like, I don't know, and I'm not going to speculate because, he said, she said, I don't care about what he said and she said because I didn't hear it from the person, so I don't know. And I was like, and that's going to be my answers. I don't know. I don't know. I was like, I'm guessing I did something. I don't know what I did, but I don't know what I did. And I was like, so someday I have to find out, what happened or where I went wrong or where I stepped out of line or where I crossed the line. I was like, because I don't ever want to make somebody feel.
I think my biggest thing is if I don't just cut people off when I talk to them, I'll just let them stay friends with me. I'll just stay in the friendship, whether I wanted to or not. So I think that's why I handled it that way, because I was set in my mind, I don't want this in my life. I don't want this in our life. And the only thing that made me think any differently in me and Chris's conversation, again, he was very sharp at the way he was talking to me, like I was his mama and I blah blah blah, and he was making those kind of phrases at me. It was when he said, what did he say? Something about I said, I just think the house is so much peaceful now. He was like, I don't feel like it's peaceful. Like it's too quiet. Like, and he gets in his head. So too quiet means I have more time to get in my head about stuff. And so, because when we moved here in November, it was really like my dad moved. I already told all those people, like Divine even told them, like, look, because she had to stay with me for a little while. She was like, I don't like it when my friends are here and I didn't invite them here and I want to come home and I don't want to be bothered. Like, so she even said, like, no, you need to ask my mom. So me, quiet time is good for me because I load myself with so much stuff, like in a day, and I might not shut down to 8 or 9 o'clock. So when he said it, it was like, oh, you need friends. I was like, but you don't need just any friends, Chris. You need positive people in your life. Yeah. Nothing since then, but it stays quiet over here. It stays peaceful. Every once in a while you have a choice, but really choice is not here but half the week. So and I was like, it's just a different vibe. I was like, we don't really argue, we kind of just disagree, and he gets his little snaps in and I get my snaps in, and then we're like, all right, so what are we gonna eat? I don't really just it was kind of like at the end of our conversation I was like, oh yeah, I'm over it, I'll talk to her. And then you contacted me. That's why I thought he said something to you. But I didn't tell him that. I just, usually when we get in our disagreements, it's not, we don't end on, oh, you're right, da da da, hug it out. We just like move on to the next one. Oh, what are we gonna eat? Oh, what are we gonna do next? Right. It just it gets a little quiet, and then we go to the next thing and we move on from that subject. Yeah. So that's kind of how it ended. But in my head, I was like, oh yeah, to some degree, it should be a conversation. Whether it's a conversation saying this is why and I don't want to be friends, period, there's no fixing this, or
but I agree. I don't want, because in the last almost 2 years, we have also, I feel, really just started doing positive things and being very positive in our marriage and fixing that, because that almost 2 years ago needed a lot of repairing and a lot of me not, he's a homebody anyway, but I'm not, and I need to start being at home more, and I need to be present more and not be, out all the time, even if I wasn't doing anything, just out sitting at somebody's house. Like, I just need to stop and be at home and take care of my home before, and I wasn't doing that.
I think this is on my bucket list.
What's that?
Let me see. It's a 40 at 40 bucket list me and my friend are doing. Call someone that you stopped being friends with and tell them why. It is on my bucket.
Well, there you go.
Check that off.